Hey friends, I'm Jamie Maddox, your wealth embodiment mentor. I teach how you are uniquely designed to attract wealth. In this podcast, I talk about body mapping and money. Body mapping is a unique map on your body that gives information, instructions, and direction for you specifically. Each episode, I highlight one area of the body, discuss its features, and more importantly, what that means for you and your money. So welcome. I'm excited to be on this journey together and can't wait to see what your body can teach you about money. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Your Nose Knows. Okay, this episode is all about why body mapping is so exciting. And I have multiple reasons that I'm going to be sharing, along with a very fun story that actually happened when I was 14 years old. And it wasn't until just a few years ago when I learned body mapping that it all made sense to me. So just a review. So body mapping was created by Laurel Houston, who is the creator of Reflections Inside and Out. And what she did is, for years she was a cosmetologist and she studied psychology in school. So she got to look at people for hours on end, as she's cutting their hair and dyeing their hair. And she's talking to them and she started to put together that certain people had certain characteristics personality-wise that also had certain facial features or other body features. So this led her to really start to do a deep dive into, is there something here? Is there a connection? Why is this happening, right? So she started studying, tapped into her intuition, looked at FBI studies, all sorts of things, and started to put together that each of our features on our body gives us information about ourselves. And the thing is that, let's just be real. Like in our society, in our world, there's so many things about bodies and so much comparison and so many derogatory things and expectations, and the list goes on, right? So one of the reasons I love body mapping is because it helps to negate some of those societal pressures. Because the thing is I can only measure my body against my body. Each of our body parts can be measured by at least one other part of our body, if not two. But if I take my thumb and try to measure someone else's eye, I'm going to be wrong about them and wrong about me. But if I take my thumb and measure my eye, then it gives me information. And that's the thing, it's just information. Because whether my eye is proportionate or smaller or larger than the measurement, it just tells me information about myself. And that's one of the things that I love is that when we measure, we can see what are our natural gifts and abilities and talents versus what are the programs that we have taken on, maybe because other people told us things or because we thought we were supposed to be something or, all the shoulds and all the things that we take on, right? So when we can look at ourselves from a neutral and very objective standpoint, that's when we say, oh, this is actually my gift. This is actually what makes me me. And then I can choose my programs because, hey, if the program's working and you're liking the results, great, keep it. If you're like, wait, that program isn't actually even helping me or working and my body is telling me this, then you can change the program, okay? Now, you'll notice the name of this podcast is Your Nose Knows, which, let's be honest, it's a little quirky and weird, but I am an Aquarius moon for those of you that know astrology. And so I really appreciate a little bit of quirky weirdness, right? But here's the thing. In body mapping, the nose is all about value. So, we tend to first off think of value as money. And I'm a co-owner of an accounting practice, and I've worked in the accounting industry for almost 9 years at this point. And so the tax and accounting world, I should say. And so I have this background with money and I love it. I think money is so fun and so exciting. And I love to talk to people about it. So when we talk about value with the nose, the first thing we usually think is money. Like, what do we trade money for? We trade money to get clothes, to get food, to get housing, right? Value is also our time, our relationships, what food we want to eat, what type and, what types of clothes we like and the brand and how nice it is. All of these things are different things that we value. And all of that actually comes down to the nose. I know. Isn't that like the coolest thing ever? Right? Yeah. It's why I do what I do, because I love it. I love to look at people's noses and get to explain to them what is natural for their abilities with money and with everything they value, and what's been programming, and how to really step into who they are. Because that's the thing. We like to sometimes just say like a one size fits all. Here's how it is. Here's how it goes. Do X, Y, and Z, and you'll get the result. And does that work sometimes? Absolutely. But we all know we are way more intricate, there we go, beings, and way more specific and unique. And that's what I really love to help women do, to see how you are specifically unique and what works for you, and really to align with yourself. So when people work with me one-on-one, yes, we are talking about money. We are talking about wealth. And really what we're doing is we are figuring you out, your divine alignment that helps money naturally flow to you, because you're living your gifts, you're living your talents. You know who you are, and you have permission to show up as you in the world. Breathe that in. Oh, does that not just feel so good? Permission to be you in this world. And by being you, it opens you up to the flow of money. I'm getting like chills. Okay, so that right there is the number one thing why I love and am so passionate about body mapping, why I got certified in advanced body mapping, and why I do what I do. Okay, another reason I love it. So if you're in my world, you probably are somewhat similar to me in the sense that you probably love personality tests and all the different things that you take a test and it tells you about yourself, right? Usually we want to understand ourselves if you're in this world, right? But here's the thing. Well, number one, I have some issues with school in general. We will not get into that right now. I'm sure they will come up later. With that being said, for years, I've been like, well, I can take a career test, and depending on whatever answer I put, it's going to give me that answer. Okay. Because here's the thing. Like, I remember in high school, probably my senior year, they gave you like an aptitude career test or whatever, like, what should you be when you grow up? Blah, blah, blah. Right. So I'm filling it out, and it's like, do you like to fly? Do you like to put things together? Do you like mechanics? Do you like to teach? And I'm like, well, if I say yes, you're going to tell me to be a teacher. If I say yes, you're going to tell me to be a pilot or be an airplane mechanic. If I don't put that, then you're going to tell me not to do that. Okay. With that being said, are some tests developed better than others? Absolutely. That one specifically stands out in my mind of being like, well, this is dumb. I can tell it to tell me whatever I want, right? Okay. So, but there is kind of this theme, because I'm like, because sometimes, just because I like to play around and and have fun, I'll take tests and I will put different answers just because I'm kind of testing my theories. And I just want to see, like, how valid is this test? Is it really objectively looking at me, or can I sway it by what I want the results to be? Okay. And a lot of times I can sway the test by whatever I want the results to be, right? You can't do that with body mapping. And here's why. Because it measures you against yourself. And it tells the information directly by those measurements, by the size, by the shape, by all the different things. So when I'm working with people, I actually don't give measurements until we are in a session together. Because here's the thing. Sometimes I'll tell about the different shapes of noses, and people will be like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have that type of nose, because they really want to be like a really generous giver, or they really want to be good at saving. So they're like, oh, that's totally me. And I'm looking at them being like, that is so not them. Okay, that's all right. They may not be open to it. So I really, and that's okay. I've done it too. Believe me, there's time I'm like, I'm not sure I'm ready to see that accurately on myself, right? We all do it, right? But here's the thing, is that when we can look objectively at ourselves, and when I say objectively, I mean from neutrality, that it's not good or bad, okay? There's not a right, there's not a wrong, okay? There just is. It just is, okay? When we can look at that, we then actually get to a place where we can make accurate decisions. Because if we're not actually seeing a situation as it is, we can't make the right decisions. And oh, my friends, there is so much that I have on that little piece of wisdom right there that I'm like, if you're willing to look at things as they are, it opens up options, it opens up choice, and it's beautiful. But when we're still trying to be like, well, I want it to be like that, and I'm not willing to see it as it is, we don't see the right choices, or not the right choice. We don't see what choices we actually have because we're not seeing it as it is. Okay. So you can't sway body mapping. You have a feature, you have a measurement, it's pretty more or less cut and dry. Okay. Here's the thing though, is that as we heal, as we grow and change and mature and develop and have different life experiences, our bodies change, right? I mean, if any of us women know anything, it's that our bodies change, right? Sometimes we appreciate those changes more than we appreciate other changes, right? Yeah, we all get it, okay? But that's the beauty, is that when we understand, we can say, oh my goodness, oh, my body just shifted this way. That's really interesting. I wonder what's going on. I wonder why she's not feeling safe, or I wonder why I'm feeling safe. Oh, information. So that comes to my my story of when I was 14. So I went to this. So I'm a Christian. I'm a religious person, and so I went to this youth camp when I was 14, and at that time I had an eating disorder, and so I was extremely skinny, not healthy, all the things, right? But I remember looking in the mirror, and I turned around and I looked at my butt, and it was flat. Like I did not fill out my pants. And the only thing that I remember thinking was just, I wouldn't mind a little bit of a bigger butt. I just want to fill out my pants. Okay. There was no attachment to the outcome. I was fine with my butt how it was. It was an observation. It was like, I do not fill out these pants. Okay. Flash forward a couple of years, and all of a sudden I'm like, I fill out my pants. My butt is actually really kind of cute. I've got a bit of a bubble butt, okay? To this day, I still actually really love my butt. I know, now you're all gonna wanna meet me and look at my butt. You're allowed to. But here's the thing, is that my body listened to me. And next episode 2, I am actually gonna talk about butts and what their different shapes and sizes mean, and why that was actually so significant for me. Because when I learned this about body mapping and about butts, I realized not only did my body change, but my insides changed too. From having a hard time of lifting myself up and moving forward to being like, no, I am very strong and I can absolutely lift myself up and move forward. And so my body matched that. Isn't that like the coolest ever, right? Okay. So the last thing that I'm going to go over about why I absolutely love body mapping is that it gives us permission to be us and to accept and love features that we haven't always appreciated. One of my absolute favorite things when I do no sessions with people, Discover Your No sessions, is when you sign up for a session with me, I have just like a couple of questions that I ask as they make the appointment. And one of them is, how do you feel about your nose? And, I can't remember all the options there, but it's like, I've never noticed it, or it's fine. I'm glad it's there. I hate it. I love it. There's just a few different options. So whenever I get a person that's like, I've actually never really liked my nose, and there's usually a list of reasons and they're valid, right? And without fail, by the end of the session, they're like, oh my gosh, I actually have an appreciation for my nose. This part of me that I have not been able to accept or appreciate or really love, I see it in such a different way. And it's kind of cool. And I'm like, I know, it's amazing, right? Because, looking from the outside looking in, and especially where I focus on the nose, I see the beauty in the nose. I see what it means. I see how it relates to their value. And it's not until they come into a session with me that they're like, hey, this is a feature that I don't actually love. And in fact, I'm really nervous. Usually they're really nervous for the session because they're like, please just tell me, number one, that I can make money. And I'm like, every nose can make money. Absolutely every nose. So like, that's not an issue. Okay. Now that that's done, what's the next one, right? And they're just nervous to be like, can I really let someone look at this feature on my face that I don't really love, and to look so close and intimately at it, right? And then to leave the session being like, wow, I actually love and appreciate my nose. And maybe they're not quite to the love stage at the end, but they always go away with an appreciation of their nose, where they're like, oh, this is cool. My nose does give me information, and it does tell me about myself. It does tell me what I value. It does tell me about my money. And so that's the other thing, is that body mapping gives us permission to love and accept ourselves, even if it takes a little bit of time, even if it's a process, even if we go one body part at a time, it can help. Okay, so are you so ready for all of these upcoming episodes where we're going to talk about each of the different parts? We're going to go in depth. If you have questions, or if you're like, hey, I want to know about this body part, put it in the comments. Let me know. I have my list of like kind of the order I'm going to go in, but if you guys have a body part, I would love to listen and to be like, great, I'm going to move that one up. Let's talk about this one next, because that just excites me. And yes, the nose is one of the main money spots in the body, but there are actually multiple places in our body that can give us information about our money and our value and what we value with our money and our spending and how we can really embody wealth. So we are going to have such a fun adventure, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. Make sure to check back each week for the newest content about your body and your wealth. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends and give it a 5-star review. Make sure to visit healinghopewithjamie.com for new offers, retreats, and ways to embody your wealthy life.